Chapter 14 Worries and Kindness. The journey to Manhattan wasn't exactly a short one, especially since the stallions pulling the carriage seemed to be pacing themselves. Tracy and Twilight spent the whole afternoon and evening in the carriage, snacking on Pinky's cupcakes and chatting as they did, trying to enjoy the ride. They ended up falling asleep sometime after dark. It must have still been quite early, Trixie guessed. When they awoke, though, it was well after first light, almost noon. Even it was only because of one of the drivers shouting, "Coming up, Manhattan, Phillies! We'll be there in 15 minutes or so!" You know, carriages don't really do that. That's trains. It's very impressive, Twilight commented as she ran hairbrush to her mane. They've been pulling us for nearly 24 hours now. Do you think they ever get tired? A train doesn't get tired. Trixie stretched her forelegs out in front of her and smiled contentedly as her bones clicked into place. We switched drivers overnight, Sparkle, she purred, before drawing herself up with a smirk. But I suppose you were too fast asleep to notice. The louder unicorn lowered her head a little in embarrassment. Oh, right. I thought you'd be up all night, cramming in some last-minute studying, said Trixie. She magically grasped the daughter cape as Twilight chuckled. You've already convinced me that's no use. At least, now we can find out what the events are. She shook her head. Besides, I figured that a good night's sleep couldn't do any harm. Trixie rolled her eyes. In other words, the carriage lulled you to sleep. It did not! Twilight threw back, along with a half-hearted deaf glare. You slept like a baby, Twilight, for over half a day, Trixie said, smirking. Not that it wasn't cute to watch for a while, but you make a terrible traveling companion. Twilight stuck her tongue out defiantly, drawing a giggle from the answer unicorn. But it's good you got it out of your system, I suppose, Trixie continued, casting an idle glance towards the front of the carriage. We probably won't have much time for the rest when the display starts. The carriage soon rattled to a halt atop of the stone-paved streets, signaling their arrival. Trixie wasted no time in ducking out from certain folds, even whilst their partner was struggling with the saddlebags. As she stepped into the midday sunlight and blinked to adjust her eyes, she was greeted by the sounds of bustling civilization. Dozens, if not hundreds of ponies milled up and down the fast streets that stretched as far as the eye could see. Granted, it wasn't very far. The sheer density of the buildings, all tall and grandiose, meant that most of the city was hidden behind walls of homes, hotels, stores, and all manner of other things. It's the polar opposite of the quiet, rustic village in which he spent the past month or so. A drastic change, but a refreshing one. Trixie, I can't get my saddlebags on, came Twilight's distressed voice from behind. I think I packed too much after all. Can you help me with the The lavender unicorn broke off as he pushed out from under the curtain folds and joined in Trixie, looking out over the street before them. Her eyes went wide and her mouth formed an O, earning her a couple of funny looks from the passers-by. It's so big, Twilight commented breathlessly. I mean, I've been here before, but never being so cramped together. Trixie rolled her eyes and reached out with her magic to adjust the straps of Twilight's saddlebags. Well, you came here with the princess. I'm sure she kept you from the busier parts of the city. It get easy to get lost, especially this time of year, when the display is being held. That's true, said Twilight. I actually don't remember much other than the stadium itself. She yelled as the straps tightened around her stomach. And as Trixie released her magic and smirked. There. Next time, don't pack so many books. Twilight threw her a silent glare. Thank you for the advice. One of their drivers, a lean-looking brown stallion with dark hair, appeared from the corner of the carriage and smelled out at them. Here we are, Phillies! Pegasus Down Hotel. All set to go? Yes, thank you, said Twilight, before Trixie again and so much a mocking complaint about his slowness. He profited a hoof up to help Twilight down, and the larger unicorn took it gratefully. Trixie rolled her eyes. When the stallion offered the same hoof to her, she simply ignored it and jumped down on her own. The great and powerful Trixie didn't need help from any point but Twilight Sparkle. Well, glad to be of service, said the driver awkwardly. Enjoy your stay. With that, he bowed his head and darted off around the front of the carriage again to rejoin his fellows. Treacle surged forward a moment later and steadily made his way down the street, leaving Twilight and Trixie standing in the pavement in the wake. Together, the two unicorn mares turned to look up at the tall building before them. It had to be at least a dozen stories high and made of impressive blue stark stone. Balconies jutted out here and there, and windows dotted the entire height of the building. Right up to the gigantic sign on top was decorated and depicted a pair of crossed yellow feathers laying atop a pillow. So, this is where we're staying, said Twilight idly. It wasn't really a question, more of a nervous observation, which seemed awful to Trixie. Weren't you the one who was excited about staying in the hotel? Said Shelmare with a raised eyebrow. Twilight nodded. I am, but I didn't think it'd be so big. It'll seem smaller when we get inside, Trixie assured her. Come on, let's go check in. The glass-paned double doors led them into a wide, impressive lobby, and a comfortable warmth spread over them as they entered. Dark carpeted floors on the host stretched across the room, met with midnight purple at the patterned walls, all lit up by a subdued light from the golden chandelier above. It wasn't at all a vibrant, colorful room, but Trixie almost got an eerie sense of welcome as she stepped inside. On the side of the room was another set of double doors, which seemed, from this distance, to lead to some sort of dining room. Against the left wall, a straight staircase led upwards and disappeared to the roof. Finally, in the corner to their right, lay the receptionist's desk, behind which sat a young mare with a white coat and wavy blonde mane, merrily sifting through paperwork. Trixie cast a glance over at Twilight, especially bestowing a seriously questioning look after seeing the sheer scale of the huge lobby. But the lavender mare was too busy staring, wide-eyed around the place to do so as must return to grades. Good afternoon, you two! Came a sing-song voice from the right. Trixie turned to meet the eyes of the receptionist, who was now beaming at them. Are you here to check in? Trixie frowned at her still mesmerized partner before trying out to the desk. That's correct. Trixie assumes you know who we are. The receptionist beamed wider still. Assuming that you are Trixie, then I know exactly who you are, she chirped, a sickening sweetness in her voice. She turned her smile on Twilight. And this must be your partner. Oh, how lovely. We see so few fitting couples at the display nowadays. Trixie gulped and flipped back her mane, suddenly feeling a little flustered as Twilight stared towards the desk. She wanted to correct the mare and say, We're not a couple, but held her tongue. It didn't matter what she thought anyway. And this is Twilight Sparkle, said Trixie, nodding as Twilight came to a stop over her. She's from Ponyville. Hello, Twilight Sparkle from Ponyville, said the increasingly vibrant receptionist. My name is Summer Breeze. Pleased to meet you both. She paused and leaned into the side to peer around Twilight's back. My goodness, those bags look heavy. Leave them with me and I'll have some pony take them up to your room. Oh, thank you, said Twilight, gracefully unstrapping herself from the saddlebags and passing them over with magic. It's nice to meet you, too. So, can you tell us what room you're in, Summer Breeze? Of course. The mare bent down and withdrew a piece of paper from her desk. It looks like we have you in room 12. Now, I'm sure I hope you're not afraid of heights. Trixie and Twilight exchanged glances. Three sisters giggled. I'm kidding. You'll love it. Just don't look down. There's one thing I should mention, though. What's that? Said Trixie, narrowing her eyes a little. Well, due to a teensy little mix-up, which totally wasn't my fault, by the way, the competitors with the display have all been assigned double rooms this year, rather than twin rooms. Summer Breeze offered a slightly less enthusiastic grin, and that was probably her attempt at apologetic. And, although we were able to change room arrangements for some of those who arrived earlier, I'm afraid we're fully booked now. Trixie blinked. So we're stuck with a double room, she said, suddenly feeling strangely emotionless. Sorry, but what's the difference? Twilight chimed in, glancing between them for help. It means there's only one bed, said Trixie shortly. Oh. Twilight fell silent, her expression unreadable. As moments passed, Trixie sold her hopes against the carpet. Part of her wanted very much to argue with the receptionist and demanded to be given a different room. But another, much more curious part of her made her keep quiet and wait. What exactly was she waiting for that didn't become obvious until a few seconds later? Well, that's okay, said Twilight finally. Trixie turned to her with raised eyebrows, completely stunned by the statement. Twilight's casual smile wilted under her look. I mean, I don't mind letting you have the bed, the mare said quickly. I'm happy to sleep on the couch. The room has a couch, right? The receptionist nodded brightly. It certainly does. Well, wait a minute, Trixie broke in. You can't sleep on the couch. Twilight waved a hoof. Oh, it's fine. I'm sure it's a very comfortable couch. That's not what I meant, said Trixie, shaking her head. Well, if one of us has to take the couch, then it should be me. Don't be silly, Trixie. You'll sleep better in bed. And you deserve to rest, said Twilight. Especially after I slept so long this morning. Seriously, I'll be fine on the couch. Trixie scoffed and flicked back her mane. No, you won't. Because Trixie is taking the couch, she said haughtily. The kids of a smile were making her way into her face. You'll just have to make do with the bed. No, really, Trixie, this is your event. You have to take the bed. I'd love to have the couch. That's too bad. I'm taking it. Don't you think the great and powerful Trixie should have a great and powerful place to sleep? Perhaps. But you'll have a lot more delicate. Trixie would be a very good partner if she let you sleep on the couch so you were all achy the next day. Delicate? That's so dull. Without worrying, Summer Breeze rose up with a wide grin on her face and unfurled a pair of wings that Trixie didn't even notice. The excited mare shot forwards and pulled them both into a strangling hug. Oh, you two are just the cutest. I was more of a guess word, just like you. Caught off guard, Trixie guessed her air and struggled against her rough grip. One of them crazy receptionists pulled back a moment later and rested her full hose on her desk. She was still beaming. Don't you fret, Phyllis. There's plenty of room on the couch for both of you to share, I promise. Trixie's mouth fell open a little, and her cheeks heated up as she glared daggers at Summer Breeze. She wanted to tell her off, but no words came out. Something that annoyingly tearful smile kept her quiet. Well, whatever, Trixie managed eventually. She purposely turned her head so she couldn't see whether or not Twilight's cheeks were red too. Can you just show us to our room now? Oh, already, pouted the receptionist. Well, okay, I guess. Just let me get your key and... Actually, do you think we could wait a bit? Twilight broke in. Trixie pursed her lips and waited until she was sure that her own cheeks had returned to her normal hue before turning to meet her partner's eyes. What do you mean, wait? I was thinking, Twilight began. It's still early afternoon and I haven't eaten all morning. Could we maybe go get some food first? And then, if you wanted, could show me around Manhattan for a while? I mean, like I said, I've never been to this part of the city before, and it'd be nice to see some sights before we turn in. Oh, that's a wonderful idea, chirped Summer Breeze before Trixie could so much get a word in. I'm sure you'll have a lovely time. And here, take these. She reached under her desk and pulled out a host-sized red ticket. All entrants for the display are provided with free lunches at the Daisy and Duke Cafe, if it takes their fancy. Twilight tilted her head at the ticket. Oh, really? That's too kind. No, it's not! Trixie almost snapped, grasping the ticket with romantic. In fact, we'll go there right now. Come on, Twilight. Lionel Mare gave a yelp as Trixie wheeled around and started shoving her towards the door, eager to get away from the crazy receptionist. Trixie, what are you... Oh, thank you, Summer Breeze. We'll see you later! Goodbye, Twilight Sparkle and Trixie. Don't forget to have fun. They found a Daisy and Duke Cafe a few good 15 minutes later, on the street the ticket told her to go to. It was much more comfortably sized, and quite a simple design compared to the hotel, with sleek wooden floors and lightly colored walls, and a large glass window that completely covered the two sides of the building. Inside, Trixie found herself glancing around at all the different tables, with dozens of different ponies sat, eating. Stallions, colts, mares, and fillies, some of which were no doubt their fellow competitors for display. She tried to guess which pairs were the competition, or at least that's what she was pretending to be doing. In reality, she was searching for one stallion in particular, even if she knew it was pointless. If Flair was here, Trixie would have noticed the moment he stepped through the door. What's wrong? Said Twilight, brushing up against Trixie's side. Trixie shook her head. Nothing. I just thought he might be here. Oh, well, I guess he's eating somewhere else, said Twilight artfully. Or maybe he's just not here yet. Do you want to go and look for him? Look for him? Trixie scoffed. I don't think so. We'll see him at the display anyway. I'm not going out of my way to find him a day early. True. Looking for him would be kind of desperate, and Trixie would never stoop to that. But she still would have liked him to be there. She wanted to get as much publicity as possible while she had the chance. But, as she kept telling herself, she'd see him tomorrow. The two mares made their way over to an empty table near the window, perched themselves atop the wooden stools. Trixie tried to put the thoughts of Thayer out of her mind, but she didn't need him distracting her from her food when he wasn't even there. So, here we are in Manhattan, Twilight declared quietly, as she flashed a tiny smile. Tracy quirked her brow. Where we've been for half an hour or so. Is something wrong? Maybe, said Twilight, turning her gaze at a menu that laid open in front of the table. Guess it's just starting to feel real. You're nervous. Wasn't all surprising, really. While Tracy never really got nervous before a big performance herself, being great and powerful as she was, it seemed a common trait amongst everybody else. They were afraid they would make a mistake and forget their lines. As a result, they sometimes did. It was counterproductive, as Twilight would say, and Tracy was eager to nip it in the bud. You haven't got anything to be nervous about, Twilight. Like I've said 100 times already, I'll be there with you. You just have to follow my lead, and everything will be fine. Tracy offered a kind smile. Twilight's own smile morphed to the left-sided smirk. I know, she said before pausing to think. Tracy stayed silent, waiting patiently until Twilight looked up and met her eyes. But really, that's only part of it. Before Tracy could respond, a waiter appeared at their side, quill and paper held in his magical grasp. Twilight glanced up at him. Oh, I'll have the soup, please. He nodded and turned to Trixie, who hadn't even had a chance to look at the menu. Not that it mattered anyway. Pancakes, she guessed, eager to get back to her conversation with Twilight. Do you have cinnamon apple pancakes? He nodded again. Perfect, that will do, Trixie said shortly, turning back to her partner. What was it that you said, only part of it? As the waiter moved swiftly off, Twilight bit her lip and averted her eyes for Trixie. It's not important, really. It's important to me, Trixie said, cutting her off. Twilight glanced up at her at that gulp. Okay. I guess making a mistake is one thing I'm worried about, but I can get over that if you're there to look. If you're there with me, she hastily corrected. But that's not all. I don't really know how to say it. You're still worried about performing in front of an audience, Trixie guessed. Twilight shook her head. No, yes, but that's not what I'm talking about. Trixie rolled her eyes. We'll be here for hours if you're going to make me guess. Why don't you just tell me? I won't snap at you or anything. I'm not so sure about that, Twilight muttered. Her lips were firmly in a frown now, but she looked as if she was trying to convince herself to open up, so Trixie weighed in. Eventually, Twilight cleared her throat. I've been thinking about your magic show, she said slowly. Mostly about what everyone thought of you afterwards. Oh. Trixie found her own face drooping all of a sudden. So that's what this was about. Honestly, I don't think I could handle it if everybody thought of me like that, said Twilight, hanging her head. As a braggart or a loudmouth. She shook her head as the words left to her, obviously punishing herself for being so honest. She was really too nice. Is that what you think of me? Trixie mumbled. That I'm a bad pony? Her voice was cold as her mouth was dry. No, said Twilight. Somehow that wasn't very assuring. As if sensing this, the lavender mare suddenly put her forepaws on the table and leaned across the planet kiss on Trixie's nose. Caught off guard for a second time that day, Trixie drew back with eyes wide as Twilight smiled at her. I might not agree with everything you did in your show. That was a quote. Uncomfortably close unicorn continued. But I don't think you're a bad pony. I could never think that, not after, well, everything. Twilight stared for a moment longer, before finally showing mercy and pulling back her seat to retake her seat. Trixie opened her mouth and closed it again, declared a threat to reassure herself. Then what's the problem? She asked, her voice dry. This kind of competition, it's really more your thing, said Twilight thoughtfully. It's all about showing off, isn't it? And that's your talent, not mine. But you wanted to learn. Trixie drew back along with a quizzical look. Those lessons I gave you in the library. I'm not saying I don't appreciate that, said Twilight. Being confident with my performance, matching my moves to my spells, it's all really useful, and I'm happy you taught me. But, Twilight sighed, but even though I could do all of that happily, when I think back to your show, the way you humiliated my friends when they challenged you, that's the problem. I don't blame you for it, not even a little bit, but I just don't think I could do it if I were in the same position. She paused to gulp resolutely before meeting Trixie's eyes. I don't think I could be that pony. Trixie was left speechless by that Twilight's little confession. How long the bookish mare had been keeping that to herself, Trixie had no idea. Could she really have been feeling that way since she first became Trixie's partner? And that's why she was hesitant in the first place. Or maybe these were just new thoughts, brought on by being so close to the day of display. Whatever the case, Trixie knew she had to make Twilight understand. I never wanted you to be Tracy muttered half-consciously. So he didn't accept this, he said that out loud, until Twilight tilted her head question. Never wanted me to be what? Like me, Tracy said simply. I know who you are. You're not a show-off. Twilight opened her mouth, but seemed unable to find any words. For Tracy, on the other hoof, words just started coming up more easily. I didn't come back to Ponyville to ask an accomplished showmare to be my partner. I came back to ask you. And that's all I'm asking you to be. Just be Twilight. Even as the last word left her mouth, she felt embarrassment rising to her face. Tracy forced herself to roll her eyes, as if she found her own words silly, even though they were completely true. When she first came back to Ponyville, she wanted Twilight, the ridiculously powerful sorceress, to be her partner. When she finally got around to asking, she wanted Twilight, her friend, to be her partner. In either case, the answer was the same. She wanted Twilight. Turning to look casually out the window, Tracy looked at her hoof to hide the burning cheek that still faced her partner. Why couldn't she fathom why she was blushing so much lately? Maybe Twilight's sun-drawn shyness was starting to rub off on her. Suddenly, a sail lavender unicorn rose from her seat and trotted across the table. Tracy couldn't help but turn an eye to watch this Twilight approach with an unreadable expression on her face, coming to start right to be beside the abused mare. Then, without word or warning, Twilight leaned in and nestled her head against Trixie's neck, an incredibly awkward hug. Thank you, Trixie, she whispered. That's really sweet of you to say. Trixie's mouth moved wordlessly for a moment as she tried, once again, to make sense of Twilight's strange behavior. A moment was all it took before Trixie huffed and rested her chin more firmly atop the mare, returning the hug even as she glanced around to make sure no pony was watching. Don't thank me, she grumbled. It's the truth. I was trying to make it sound sweet. Twilight shook slightly with a little chuckle as they broke the embrace. She met Trixie's eyes with an honest smile and said, Okay. With that, she circled back around the table to take her own seat across for Trixie once more. Showmare went to looking out the window, pretending not to notice Twilight staring at her. Trixie loved the closeness they shared, of course. She just wasn't used to showing in public. Not that she would care if ponies thought that she and Twilight were strange for cuddling whilst waiting for their lunch. Even so, it was still a little uncomfortable. Their food arrived after a few moments of silence. After flashing their free lunch ticket, Trixie quietly levitated her knife and fork and began cutting up the pancakes, having not eaten since Pinkie Pie's cupcakes the night before. Just as she was ready to see the first forkful to her lips, Twilight spoke up. Hey, Trixie? Yes. Trixie lowered her fork and raised an eyebrow. I wouldn't want you to change either. Twilight fizzled with a smile. For a few seconds it took to figure out what she meant. Trixie stared blankly. When she got it, she rolled her eyes and lips curled to a smirk. You're kidding yourself if you think I'm going to call you sweet, she said, poking the fork playfully towards Twilight. The lavender unicorn simply giggled as Trixie took the first bite of her food, and the two of them began to dig into lunch. Hours that felt like days later, the two mares found themselves on the outside door to the room 12 of the Pegasus Down Hotel. The tour they had planned ended up being a bust, little more than a quick jaunt down the high street, followed by an all-afternoon stay in the Mayhem Library. Having been made to follow the bookish and apparently trialist Twilight up and down literally hundreds of aisles of books, it was needless to say that Trixie was looking forward to finally resting her aching legs. Twilight, with her one newly checked-out book resting atop her back, cast a smile across at Trixie. Excited? Trixie rolled her eyes, unable to fathom how Twilight had gotten that impression from her look of utter exhaustion. It's just a room, Twilight, she said, magically lifting the key to the lock. Yes, but it's our room, Twilight insisted with a grin. I've never stayed in a hotel before. I can't wait. It's not that interesting. Trixie broke off. Eyes going wide as she pushed the door open. On her side, Twilight let out a diminutive ooh, put her head inside. Ooh was right. The dark but warm color scheme reminded Trixie very much of the lobby. On the entrance before them was a lot more cozy. She took a few tentative steps inside. Straight ahead, at the very end of the hall, was a door, left open a crack, which presumably led to the bedroom proper. Twilight wasted no time at brusquely past and trying towards it. Only stopped halfway down the corridor and turned to her left. Oh, there's the couch, she said brightly. Curious, Trixie hurried to her side and followed her eyes into another room built off their corridor, which resembled a small living room. There were, in fact, a pair of couches in the far corner, forming a half square around a circular table, which held a bottle of wine and a cooler, and a pair of champagne flutes. Trixie eagerly stepped inside to get a closer look, while Twilight galloped down the hall, probably to look at the bedroom. Overall, the room looked very snug. The couches, where Trixie would be sleeping, she reminded herself, were very soft and comfortable to the touch. They were littered with dozens of pillows of various shapes, sizes, and shades of red. On the walls there hung paintings and sketches, some of the streets in Mainhead, some depicting rural landscapes. The whole place was gently lit by fire-glide globes, either hanging from the walls or from wooden stands in the corner. Talk about luxury, Trixie mused with a smile. Trixie? Came Twilight's voice from down the hall. What? Said Trixie distractedly. There was a pause before Twilight spoke again. Remember how I was insisting on letting you have the bed? Well, I changed my mind. I'm taking it. Grunting in amusement and curiosity, Trixie headed back into the corridor and made her way up to the now open door that led to the bedroom. Inside, she found what appeared to be another very cozy room, lit by the sunlight coming in from the glass-paned doors on the far wall, which led out to a balcony. Her eyes were drawn to the bed the moment she stepped through the door. Oh, Trixie commented intelligently, fixing her eyes on the pink sea of wonder before her, and a lavender unicorn who knelt on top of it. Mine, said Twilight firmly. She eyed Trixie with a look of mock warning. Tilting her head curiosity, Trixie tried forwards to prod the bed with her nose. It was soft, very soft. She couldn't help but lift her forehead to test it out properly, only to find out it was, indeed, as light and feathery as it seemed. In one rather clumsy motion, she pushed herself onto the bed and wheeled around and kneeled beside Twilight, facing out towards the door. A content smile made its way onto her lips as she practically sank into the mattress. I guess that means you've changed your mind too? Twilight said slyly. Trixie forced herself back to the present and glanced sidelong at her partner. It's a little more comfortable than I expected, she admitted. Twilight giggled. Judging by that smile, I say that's a bit of an understatement. The azure unicorn didn't even bother to try a high-set smile as she looked down over the edge of the bed. It really was the comfiest thing she ever felt, and she worried that it might make what she wanted to say next quite difficult. You can have it, Trixie said. Somehow it wasn't hard at all. Twilight turned her raised eyebrows. Sorry? The bed is yours, Trixie confirmed. I'll be down to stand on the carpet. I don't want it. Why? Twilight said cluelessly. You don't like it? The showmare shook her head and started towards the door. No, I prefer the couch, she lied. It might have seemed a little strange, but pretending not to like the bed was easier than telling Twilight the real reason she was giving it to her. For a fleeting moment, she thought she might escape the room without further comment, only for the hope to be dashed by Twilight calling out to her. Wait, Trixie! Coming to a stop with her hoof hanging by the threshold, Trixie breathed a quiet sigh. She turned around to offer an innocent smile to the lavender unicorn, who was frowning at her firmly. Yes, Twilight. Why don't you want the bed? Twilight asked suspiciously. Trixie rolled her eyes. Of course, Twilight had seen through her lie. There was no way any pony in their right mind could not want that bed, no matter how polite they were trying to be. That Twilight hadn't moved an inch from her half-submerged spot on the mattress spoke volumes to that fact. I don't not want it, Trixie began, measuring her words. I just don't want you to not have it, Twilight blinked. With a huff, Trixie tried in vain to think of some way to put it that wouldn't sound cheap. I'm not being chivalrous, if that's what you think. And I'm not being proud either, she added quickly. I want you to have the bed because you've earned it. I know you'd never wanted anything in return, said Trixie, raising a hope to forestall Twilight's argument. But please, after everything you've done, all the kindness you've shown me. She helped to averted her eyes, so much for not making it sound cheesy. I want you to give you the stupid bed, okay? A deep silence fell between them, during which Trixie stared at the wall with an insolent expression. When after a moment she managed to shake off the embarrassment, she flicked her mane, drew herself up to look defiantly into Twilight's thoughtful eyes. I don't know what to say, Twilight managed quietly. You don't have to do this. Just say thank you, Trixie suggested impatiently. Twilight's lips twisted into smiles he let out faints and giggles. Okay. Thank you, Trixie.